Using a graphing calculator or computer to determine which of the given viewing rectangles produces the most appropriate graph of the function f of x, which is equal to x to the fourth minus 16x squared plus 20. The viewing rectangle for part A is negative 3 to 3, which is the x min and x max, and the y minimum, y max is negative 3, 3. So let's go ahead and put that in the window first. So we have negative 3, and then 3, negative 3, and then positive 3. Okay, now let's go ahead and put our graph in. So we have x to the fourth minus 16x squared plus 20. So this is part A using window A, or viewing rectangles. So let's go ahead and do it on Desmos. So a minimum of negative 3, a max of 3, a minimum of negative 3, and a max of 3. And then we're going to put in our function. So it's x to the fourth minus 16 x squared plus 20. So again, this is kind of the viewing that we're getting for this viewing a rectangle. Okay, now let's take a look at B. Let's change the window there. So it's going to go from negative 10 to positive 10, and then negative 10 to positive 10, and then let's graph. Okay, so there's our viewing window. Do the same thing on here. Negative 10 to positive 10, negative 10 to positive 10. And so therefore this is the graph that we're looking at for part B. Okay, now let's take a look at part C. Again, let's change the window to negative 50 negative 50, positive 50, negative 50, and positive 50. And let's look at the graph here. So there's the graph. We do that here as well. Negative 50 to positive 50, negative 50 to positive 50. So we can see what the graph is starting to look like in part C. And so let's go ahead and take a look at what happens when we put in the last one for part D. So we have negative 5, and then positive 5, and then negative 50 and positive 50. And let's go ahead and graph that. Now this looks like a really clear picture. Let's do the same thing here. Negative 5 to positive 5. And we can see that we get a nice picture here where we can see a lot of everything. So again, we want to figure out, which viewing rectangles is going to produce the most appropriate graph of the function. So here are the list of the graphs. Okay, so if we look at all four of them, then we could possibly then say that the most appropriate graph produced is viewing rectangle D, because we can see the entire picture here.